Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Sequel Q&A. My name's Doug. So the next sequel is the rarity in the sequel ecosystem. 2 words, Easter sequel, but we found it. It's a franchise with very furry friends, talking critters, and it's the second installment, Critters 2, the main course, Critters Easter, it's the perfect and the way they incorporate Easter, so silly, but it's a lot of fun. Great cast. It's really just reminded me of that perfect 80s campy sequel. And for it, I chatted with the actress who plays Megan, one of the stars of the movie, Liane Curtis. Man, Liane, such an interesting person. A few months ago, I talked with Rob Berman, and then during the interview, I found out, oh my God, his family dates all the way back to the Wolfman. Well, Leanne's family goes back to before that, so she talks about her family history, her parents who were voice actors, and then how she was getting into it. Man, she was acting, obviously it was in her blood, but she's on Sesame Street, the first season of Sesame Street. She's on it. We talked about a ton of things. Her credits, obviously, are amazing. It was so much fun going back and watching them, 16 Candles. My favorites were Married with Children, and what reminded me about what I loved about growing up in the 90s, being, 9, 10 years old, just being able to watch whatever I want because my parents just put us in front of the TV and we just, we did what we had to do. And I remember watching 21 Jump Street. She was on a 21 Jump Street. There were so many great guest stars in it, and just... it was so good. It was a great show. It made me go back and watch a bunch of other ones. So that was a lot of fun. But really, Leanne, just her stories. She's a great storyteller. We talk about everything from aliens and her friendship with Robert Downey Jr. when they were both in New York. And then when they bumped each other years later. Very awesome story. And just her music. She was just a lot of fun. I love having the interviews that I don't know what to expect. I never really do when I go into these, but I love when I'm put onto my heels because it was a lot of fun. Leanne was a blast. So I'll make sure to put links to find her on social media, her music, whatever I can find. She was so much fun. And wow, if you're new here, welcome. You look great. I love what you did to your hair. Bangs are good on you. If you're new, please subscribe wherever you're listening. Hit the follow, subscribe. If you use YouTube, go on YouTube, search The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. Subscribe there, helps us out. And share with your friends. What's great about it is if you came here just because you saw this share and you're like, oh, I remember Leanne, she's amazing. Let me listen to this interview. Listen to it, enjoy it. Share with friends. And then, man, we have, over 300 episodes. We've been around for 5 years now, so it's a lot of fun stuff, and we're not stopping. So without further ado, here is actress Liane Curtis. Yeah, this is cool. So you grew up in New York? Is that where your home base is?
Yeah, I'm born and raised. I'm born and raised here in Manhattan, and I went to LA for 3 decades or so.
That's pretty awesome. And so you grew up speaking French?
Yeah, I didn't speak English first. I spoke French first. Wow. And Sidney Lumet was impressed on on the SS France. He heard a little baby speaking in French because I was speaking by the time I was 9, 10 months old. My dad, my mom was like, Jack, what are you doing? He said, I'm teaching her a sentence. She said, she's 10 months old. What are you talking about? He said, well, she can say bonjour and she can say pussycat. That's a sentence. And my mom just looked at him and went, oh, dear God. And sure enough, I was sitting there going, bonjour, pussycat. Okay. Yeah. So.
Who was French? Was your dad French or were they both French?
No, my mother was French.
Oh, okay.
It's 2 generations.
Wow.
But my mom just thought raising somebody with speaking 2 languages would give me a much more open mind and a less, blinders, not open to anything but one thing. It's just, it was an experience.
No, it's cool.
It wasn't.
The rest of the world does it. Everybody speaks English in Europe. It's a taught class. Here, it's more of they're like, hey, what do you want? French, German, or Spanish? That's kind of what it is. And you learn, you have to take 2 years of it. But no, it's great to know it from that young of an age. It was fun. I loved French.
Do you still speak any?
No, not at all. I got until so I joined it because they got to go to Canada every year because I'm in Jersey. I
So
grew up
you
in
just
Central
wanted
Jersey.
to get out.
Yes, but you know what happened? 9/11 happened. Did my freshman
Oh,
year, and they never did the trip when I was in high school because of the fear of.
yeah. Well, after that, like traveling became such a giant pain
Oh
in the
yeah,
ass. It's not even fun. My mom was actually in the tower and then went down and took the last path train to New Jersey. So she lived with PTSD for the rest
oh
of her
my
life,
bet,
which was
Jesus,
awful. Yeah.
unreal. And your parents. So the thing that's
Kind
crazy, and like whenever you look at people's IMDb, sometimes they don't have anything about like their parents, but it was pretty cool. Like when you mentioned that when you were talking to Jamie and when you emailed me back, so they were both in the business, like, but out of New York, they were doing
yeah.
voiceover work.
Well, it gets crazier than that. Like my family on my dad's side goes back into the business. Like my daughter's fifth generation.
Wow.
Like they were doing it before 1900. They were active in the late 1800s. So my great grandpa was an Irish Catholic, and he decided to fall in love with a rich Jewish girl whose family basically turned her picture to the wall when she started up with this Irish Catholic alcoholic vaudevillian. They were done. So, like a couple generations, the Landau family, that's the rich Bostonian Jews, the Landaus. So they disowned Miriam. Miriam married John Ford. John and Miriam had 6 children. One named Albert did not make it. My grandma, Mabel, was the youngest. And she married Jack Curtis Sr., whose name was Jack Zinn, with the flying Zins, but then he changed it to Curtis and became an agent. And they had a agency called the Rose and Curtis Agency, and they worked with the Albies. And they also he was an agent for my grandma. I guess he met her that way. Like, and he was with a woman named Anna Chandler before. So I have these cousins like somewhere. It gets it's really crazy. Like my dad's family, like my grandma Mabel, her big brother John Ford was married to Eva Tangway. Like it was a big deal. Like one of them got robbed on a train. It made the headlines. My grandma made $2,500 a week in 1924.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. They were like I've got some pedigree, but like I've never really talked about it too much, nor has any agent to date ever decided to take that and spin it to everybody's advantage.
Yeah.
So like, still got I've got a place to still go. I don't know. I haven't hit my ceiling.
But that's pretty wild. That's insane. So,
It is
and
wild.
then everybody just kept going with it. Everybody kept going with it because your father went with it. And I
Yeah.
guess, is that how him and your mom met? Like, because she was sort of in it? Or,
Yeah, they met in dubbing. They met in dubbing,
wow,
like probably doing Godzilla
that's
movies,
awesome.
dubbing Godzilla movies. That's where they met. Like right after my dad directed a movie called The Flesh Eaters, which is like one of the first gore movies. It was black and white, like, and he and Roy Benson, who was a magician, that was his first
Oh
cousin.
my
My
God.
grandma Mabel's sister Dora had a kid named Roy, and so Roy. They drove the monster like they had in a convertible like to Long Island. Like I heard crazy stories about how they had to get things from one place to another. Like Marty Kozlick was the star of that movie, and an actor named Ira Lewis, who I knew growing up,
Oh, wow.
also in it. So yeah.
So you had no other choice growing up. So like at when it goes to like when you're 4 and you're on Sesame Street, which I think is the coolest thing ever because it's such a generational show because so many generations, like my daughter who's 4.5 still watches it, my son who's 1.5 loves it. And it's like so many people were watching that. How did that come about?
My dad was friends with an agent named May Ballhauer. Like I can remember her. She was this little tiny lady with short salt and pepper hair, and she smoked, so she had this, hi, it's May. Like okay, it's like Brenda Vaccaro. Okay, you know what? We have company. Sorry.
Oh,
She.
nice.
This is Diva. She's I guess, the oldest of all of my
Hi,
birds.
Diva.
So I guess since she likes to wander in
Cool.
and Yeah, she gets bored. And yeah, she just abandoned the other three. She's like, I'm out of
she
here.
left him. But so yeah, so your
She
dad
did.
doing the agent?
So Mae Ballhauer, she called, I guess. I mean, I don't remember this. This is just the story I was told because I was very verbal and precocious. They really only wanted 5 and up. I was 4.5, and somehow she convinced them. And there I was. So like I got booked because May. Um, and I remember the things that stand out was going to Mr. Hooper's store at the very end, and he was handing out balloons to everybody. And like I guess for the shot, like the camera was whatever. And so like I was trying to get my balloon and he was like holding on to it and just smiling. And like I guess the shot was from behind. I'm just like, why the fuck isn't this guy giving me the balloon? Like what? Okay, so I finally get the balloon, and the director's busy talking, and he's blowing up balloons for this one and that one, and then he's walking and talking, and I come up next to him like, could you please blow my balloon? And he's like, yeah, okay, and he blows it up and hands it back. I was like, could you blow it bigger? He said, it doesn't get bigger than that. I said, well, you're stupid because my mom blew the same balloon up bigger last night. Guess who didn't go back on Sesame Street ever again? It's like the youngest one was the sassiest and most verbal. Oh.
Well, at least you have that memory. That's pretty amazing.
I do. I remember. My mom tells me that I told him he was stupid. I don't remember that. But I just, kids, man, they say whatever. Like, I guess I'm still a child because I still say what. There's no filter. I can't finish the sentence. I am ADD. Like, by social standards, they call me ADD. I'm not wired the same way most people are.
Yeah.
So apologies.
No, don't worry about it. My wife discovered that she has ADHD and she never knew in her entire life.
Yeah.
And now that she like reads about it and talks with people, it's crazy, the stuff that she just starts so many different things and then she doesn't realize that she didn't finish them.
And then can't finish any of them, and the time management and the big brain, the big creative, and so much stuff going on, and the mouth can't keep up with as fast as the thoughts, which are usually quite brilliant, honestly. Like, I clocked out at 163 on my IQ tests when I was little, but I couldn't sit still for formal education. I walked on school at 10th grade.
Wow.
I couldn't deal with it.
So in between like the Sesame Street and like when you started like 82, 83 with the acting, were you doing...
There was dubbing.
Huh?
Dubbing.
You were doing a lot of dubbing
work. Yeah, for a guy named Peter Fernandez, who was Speed Racer, but he was a friend of my dad's. He befriended my dad when my dad was 16, before Speed Racer. They worked in radio together. So Peter would hire me, and my mom would hire me, of course. But like when I was a little baby, there was a movie called Le Bonheur by Agnes Varda. And there was a little kid at the end. And my mom sat me on a stool in the studio in front of the thing. And she would tap me on the shoulder when it was time to start talking. And I would watch and I would do so I knew how to lip sync when I was tiny. So yeah, that was my first dubbing.
Wow.
Le Bonheur, the little kid at the very end.
That's so awesome. So you were like in it. Yeah. So no matter what, it was something that you were doing from behind. When was it when you took it? Obviously at Sesame Street, you were in front of the camera, but when you thought of acting?
I remember going to Wonderama once. Remember, you probably don't remember that show.
I've heard of it.
There was a kids show called Wonderama with Bob McAllister. Wackadoo, wackadoo, wackadoo. That was his thing. Anyway, and I remember sitting in the audience being so frustrated. I'm like back here in an audience, but really, I don't need to be here. I need to be there. I thought I wanted to jump out of my skin. Like I'm not a good member of the audience unless I choose to be. So yeah, there was always kind of a drive to do something, and never conventional, it's so hard. I tried to have jobs. I did. I worked at the Gap for about 5 seconds. I couldn't handle it. Couldn't fucking deal with it. It was bad. But, us ADHD, children or adults,
but
we're just wired to.
Yeah, but it obviously that wasn't what it was meant for you to do.
Right. I embrace it now.
Yeah, right.
But you don't always embrace it. Like when you're the weird kid at school because you're saying things and thinking things that nobody else is thinking. Like, and then you just kind of get side-eyed and then the clicks and then you're just like,
Yeah.
ugh. So school was kind of traumatic for me.
No, I bet it
because
was. Especially back then, it was like taboo to talk about anything like that. You know?
Well, sure. And then, like, because I spoke French, my mom wanted me to have a good education. So, she just did for me what her dad and mom did for her, kind of like, but I'm an extrovert. She was an introvert. Like, I'm ADHD. She's super hyper focused. Like, so it didn't quite work so well. So one of her friends said, get her out of the Le Lycée Français and get her out of being skipped ahead a grade. This is not good. It was awful.
Oh,
so then mid-year, she takes me out of Le Lycée Français and throws me into the Waldorf school. So now, after having written in these little tiny cahiers, these books, like with fountain pens and teeny tiny cursive, I'm now gone from fourth grade back to third grade, and they're giving me crayons and telling me I'm not allowed to use a pen. I'm not allowed to use, like, I'm academically, and so that was whack, like mindfuck. Ultimately, the Rudolf Steiner school system would have been really good for me had I matriculated with everybody from kindergarten. But, you walk in on third grade to even like little kids who've been together since kindergarten 1, kindergarten 2, first, second, third. It's tough because there's a dynamic and you're walking in. And as soon as, like, everything is energy. I believe that. And so, like, when you have another energy walk into a collective of energies that are collaborating and have been, like, it throws everything off. So it's like a readjustment for everybody. It was just weird. It was hard.
Yeah, no, that's a big change.
It's a lot. And my dad died when I was 5.5. So there was that trauma going on. Like, there was just a lot. I had a very heavy childhood. I had a delightful childhood on so many other levels, but like definitely the trauma and I'm still like at 58, still like working through some of it. So, yeah, life is a trip, man.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Because when those things happen when you're a kid, you grow up quick. You grow up quick. I think things happen
when internalize stuff.
Yeah. No, it's totally.
Yeah, and then sometimes it like becomes a part of your makeup. Like, I'm a big Joe Dispenza fan, like in that, one day somebody did something and that puts you in a mood, and then you can't drop the idea and you keep replaying it in your head. And the next thing you know, you've got some kind of a personality with a mood in it. And people are like, what's her problem? It's like, oh, I'll once say, and then this, and then, but then you keep thinking these things over and over, and whatever you focus on collapses. Like, that's just like quantum physics 101. So if we, like, as human beings, like, thoughts are things, if you keep thinking the same thing over and over, you're going to keep reliving the same thing over and over in different ways. And like, until I realized, like, thought works faster than light.
Yeah.
Speed of light, thought, like, faster.
Yeah.
Thoughts are things. Like, people actually create their own realities up here, and then wonder, like, why stuff is people doing stuff to me? No, it's not like that. We very much create our own realities. I'm a true believer.
I'm a firm believer in that. Positive thinking yields positive results.
That's correct. That's correct. Every action has its equal and opposite reaction. Yeah. So do not fuck with the Leon. Do not, because I will. So how many times have you had a guest parrot on your show?
I haven't had a parrot. I have had a tarantula. I interviewed a guy that was like the Hollywood bug guy in the 80s.
I have a praying mantis, a very giant shield mantis over on my window. I have 4 adult mantis now. I like to get little baby mantises and watch them shed their no, seriously, the crazy thing is when I knew, it's like I have to bear down and brace for my mom passing away. Like, what'll help? Okay, well, the idea that energy can't be created or destroyed, and she's just moving out of one vessel into another. Like, what'll help? It's like maybe watching some animal that sheds its skin. Like, it's the same thing. Just get it. She's just shedding her skin, and she's not gone. She's like, I have orbs in my house, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like orbs. Like I'll send you a video
Really?
later. Like
Okay.
everybody thinks it's on. Oh yeah, my night vision camera is on, and I'll put my hand up and I'll talk to them, and these balls start shooting through my
Whoa.
apartment. I've got a video analysis guy downstairs who works for like he's an ex-cop, ex-detective, and he's actually got some of my orb video right now, and he's going to do forensic analysis on it because I'm sick of hearing about how that's just dust. No, it's not. Dust doesn't respond and doesn't move like that. If it was dust, all of the balls would be moving in the same way. These things are shooting around like up, over. It's trippy,
I
trippy
believe you.
shit.
I live in a really old house, and
Yeah,
we hear things and feel things sometimes. So
get a night vision camera. I bet you have orbs. Get a
I
night vision
will.
camera. You can get a really cheap one. Maybe you don't want to know.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
It's okay. People are really scared of this stuff. Like I think paranormal is actually more normal than we are led to believe. Like, but that's just I have very strange. Not. I told you. I warned you. I'm not conventional.
Yeah.
Conversation's going to keep going that way. Sorry.
It's all good. But no. So I just don't want to take up a ton of your time. But I always like to ask about people like that first role, like when you're in front of the camera line. Like by IMDb, it's never 100%, but I'm sure Baby It's
Home
You.
sales, baby.
Yeah. Was that in New York? Did you cast for that in New York, or did you go out to LA already?
Yeah, I did. I remember. I remember going down. I remember being. I wanted to puke. I made my brother from another mother come with me because I was so freaked out. And I went in. I met Margie Simpkin and I met John Sayles, and then I went in a second time, I think, and then I found out that I booked, and then that's where I met Robert Downey Jr. We were very close friends
Oh,
for a
awesome.
while, like not inappropriately, but he used to come over here, like in this room, like. One morning, my mom knocks on my door, like 7 a.m. on a Sunday. She's like, "Your friend Robert is here," and I'm going, "What?" So Robert walks in here. I got to put you down for this. Robert, like, no. At that time, I had a queen size bed here, right?
Yeah.
He walks in and he goes like this and just falls, boom, on my bed, like that. And I'm like, excuse me? What is going on? He's like, I just got fired. I'm like, fired from your Christmas tree job? He's like, yeah. He was working in a Christmas tree lot. He was late for the Saturday morning meeting. So he said, I was late for the meeting and the fence was locked. So instead of getting in trouble, I mean, Robert's probably ADD too. Like he's brilliant as fuck.
Yeah.
So he's like, I just climbed over the fence. And as I was climbing down, the guard dog starts barking and trying to bite me. So all I thought to do was he took out the metal thing and started swinging at the dog.
Oh my God.
The owner of the tree lot was like, "You are fired." He's like, "Your dog tried to kill me." Like the whole thing. So he was fresh off of this, and he just comes in my house. I'm like,
That's
right
wild.
on my bed.
So was he just living in New York, or is he a New York guy?
Yeah, he was actually in his uncle's apartment. His uncle worked on Saturday Night Live. Okay, so he's in his uncle's apartment. The uncle had moved out. He squatted in that fucking place for months. Like I would go visit him, he and his friend Bryce, like, and I had to leave so many times because it was just so out of control. Like the last time I remember leaving was because I got uptight. I got like an uptight mom. He and Bryce each have a soup of like Campbell's soup can, and they're lobbing them. And I'm standing there going, somebody's going to get hurt. Like, imagine that. Leanne trying to control. I'm the wildest one. Like, I'm supposed to be the wildest one in the room. Yeah. Stop. Yeah. Anyway, so I have no idea what happened to Bryce. There was another guy named Colin Chastain who used to hang out. So it was Colin and Bryce and Robert, like the first time I ever met him was in the van on the way to the set. Like, and I'm in the van. We go to 84th Street to go pick him up. We pick up Rosanna, and then we pick him up. And I'm sitting there, and there's a box of donuts. Robert gets in and sits behind me. The van starts moving. He looks over, sees the box, opens it, takes a jelly donut, stuffs it in his mouth, and goes, "Hi, I'm Robert." I'm like, oh my God, who is this guy? I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been his first movie too, right? Time-wise?
Yeah.
It's gotta be early on.
It was early on, but his dad, I mean, Downey Sr., I'm sure put Robert in something.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like,
but wow, that's so cool.
Well,
and then from that, obviously,
he's got his car thing now, and like one of the cars that he fixed, souped up, and is turning around and selling or auctioning or something, whatever he does with his souped up cars. One of them is his mom's Elsie's car.
Oh.
It's like this really weird green colored Mercedes, and like the tires have like, they're not white walls, they're almost like brown walls. It's weird. Like, anyway, I don't really follow him too much, but I happened to be something and an algorithm came by, so I just kind of went and looked.
You saw him?
Yeah, it's nice.
Have you seen him since then, like in the 80s? Have you ran into him at all?
Yeah, I have run into him when I was living back in California. I was coming out of Burke Williams, and I looked up. I was walking south on 4th Street, and I looked up, and there he was getting out of a car. I was like, Downey? He was like, Curtis. That was good. And then a couple years later, my daughter and I, when she was a toddler, probably about your daughter's age, maybe 3, we were at a place that a friend of mine named Lonnie, who happened to be friends with Deborah Falconer and took care of their kid, Indio, for a really long time. She was like a surrogate mom to that kid for a long time. But so Lonnie had a place called Around the Corner where you could go do art, you could drop your kid off. And Lonnie's all about the music and the art with kids. She's amazing. So my daughter's there. Robert walks in because he's making like some anniversary present for his wife. My daughter had this really crazy habit. She would like assess people, I guess. Like after 9/11. Okay, well, first let me just say, we went to sushi once. She walked in and she stops dead in the restaurant, points at the sushi chef and owner, and she goes, "I don't like that man."
Oh, man.
Get poisoned. Shut up.
Yeah.
Please shut up. I was like, why not? That's Mark. Okay, fine. Then comes 9/11. And I'm horrified watching TV. My 2 boys have gone to school, and there's Osama bin Laden. And she staring, she goes, "I like that man." And I'm like, what? I didn't say anything. I was like, "Why do you like him, Jack?" She said, "I like his hat." And I thought, oh my. So fast forward, we're at Around the Corner. Robert comes in to make a candle or something for his wife. And what do you think Jack does?
Assesses Robert Downey Jr.
Pops and looks at him, points and goes, "I don't like that man." And I'm just going, oh, fucking God. Like of all the people, she's like pointing at Robert, going, oh. And I was like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "Don't worry about it." So yeah, and then I saw him again once after that, but I'm not going to tell that story because that was not the most. It wouldn't be a story to tell.
Yeah, no, it's good. But no, that's pretty. It's always cool because whenever you're in a movie, or obviously you knew him after that, but I always talk to all these actors. Like I helped this actor Larry Hankin write his memoirs, and he always said,
"I know Larry."
Okay, yeah. So
I know Larry. I used to see him in LA all the time. He would come see like music performances. He lives in Venice. Yeah.
So I connected with him.
Yeah,
he's a New York guy.
Floric all the time too. Well, yeah, of course he is.
Yeah,
but like he went out there. Anyway, so you worked with Larry?
Yeah, I interviewed him, and he wanted to do a memoir. So it took us like 2 years, but it's out now. But he told me like the one thing that he loved, and then it was kind of sad at the same time, was when he was on a movie set and he was there for like 2 months or 3 months. He's like, it'd be like summer camp. We'd all hang out because that's all we had around. But he's like, then it'd be over, and he's like, you wouldn't really see those people again, except if you like randomly ran into people.
It's so fucking weird. Like, it's like that. It's like being carnival people, you know? It's like you get together with people that are perfect strangers. There's like 200 people that make 1 2-hour movie, and you're in it for like weeks at a time, especially if you're a lead. You know, even if you're supporting, but like sprinkled through, like it becomes a very dysfunctional family. But then like when it's all over, there's just this big empty space. It's weird. It is like, and I think pretty much, unless you're dead in the heart, all actors have this like, oh God, I'm never going to work again. And oh God, like coming off, you got a place to go every day. And then out of nowhere, you've got nowhere to go every day. And then all these people that you were with every day, they're like not there anymore. So yeah, it's a little mindfucky,
Yeah.
so you got to really be straight, like well balanced.
And then you see them again and
But
remember that time, So no, it was funny. I just always think of that. Like I totally get that point. Like when I run into people I haven't seen in years from like school or some sports team I was on, it's like you
it's
have
fun,
those
right?
memories. Oh yeah, no, I love it. So then right from there, 16 Candles, which is a huge deal. Was that just something, were you in LA yet at this point, or were you still in New York?
No, I was still here. I had auditioned several times, and I was on vacation in Florida with my boyfriend at the time, who was an adult, and I was still 17. But, in my family, as long as I'm honest and telling my mom what's going on, it's all good.
Yeah.
Just don't hide shit. Because if something goes sideways, I don't know what the fuck to do to help
Yeah.
you. So I was always very straight with my mom. Like, so yeah, I was in Florida and I had auditioned a bunch of times and I thought I was done. I get this call. They want to see you again. I'm in Florida on vacation. I was so pissed. Like I almost didn't go. And they're like, my boyfriend was like, you have to go. Like, okay, fine. So I came here. And I went and I auditioned, like, and I've told this story before, like, and it's awful. This is just awful. When you audition for something and then you realize, oh, fuck, I left my driver's license in the manila envelope with my sides and I left the envelope there. You better have your agent call casting right now and make sure they didn't throw that shit out. Go look in the envelope and, like, so I had to go to Universal and pick this shit up. And it's just, ugh. So I walk in and I'm like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hear Liane. And I said, yeah, male voice.
Well,
It's John Hughes. He's
oh,
there. He's got pictures all over the floor. And I said, hi. He said, hi. So what would you do if I told you booked the job? I just looked at him. I was like, are you serious? Like, I've never been told about I booked from the director himself, but that time, that's what happened. So that was, it was pretty. Yeah. He was such a big kid, John Hughes.
One of the best.
He really,
you look at his filmography, it's pretty wild. Like he never struck out. All of his movies are like really good. It's insane.
They are all really good, and he never wavered from his form either. Like he I guess I won't say like one hit wonder because that's rude, but like, when you do something and you do it well and you can keep repeating the same thing in different ways and have them all work, like up to Even She's Having a Baby wasn't necessarily a teen rom-com or anything, or a rom-com, but like but it was serious too. So,
that's the movie I think of that Larry had his moment, that he loved hanging out with John Ashton. Because Larry was the neighbor across the street. So him and John, in a lot of the scenes, they were like sitting and drinking beers, like in lawn chairs. So he said he really liked hanging out with them. Like hanging out with him.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But that's awesome. Sure. And it's such a big role.
Yeah, us are cool.
Yeah, definitely. But no, that's like a monster movie. And then from there, are you still in New York and just going to LA, or is this when you made the decision?
Yeah, no, I'm still in New York. Nope, I'm still in New York, and I'm not going to LA. Although I got flown to LA a couple times for screen tests while I was still a minor, and my mother was horrified. She said, "I told you I didn't want to be a stage mother." I'm like, oh God. Whatever. So she was forced to fly out to Los Angeles, once for Lovers and Other Strangers, then for a show called The Best Times. I didn't get it. And then they recast it and did it again. And we got flown out again. And I got it that time.
Awesome. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It's, it's like it's very exciting, especially when you're young and you've got the big eyes and you're so hungry for all of it. Like, I don't think I would change anything, even the idiot things that I did, because I expanded and I learned, and I wouldn't be me if I wouldn't be the me I am today if I hadn't done all those ridiculous things. Ridiculous things.
Like what? Like, you don't have to go into detail, but it was like turning down jobs, things like that you did, or?
Um, how much of a candid memoir do you want?
Whatever you feel comfortable with. No,
Like it gets a little
the reason I asked this,
dicey. Well, I don't
yeah,
know if I was his first. I was all over the place. 16 Candles. Like during rehearsal, I slept with Anthony Michael Hall. Then he got really pissed off because my friend Anthony called. He got jealous. Anthony's gay. He didn't care. Fine. Fast forward. We're shooting. Molly Ringwald decides she doesn't like Roger Jacobs and the way he does makeup. So she forced them to fly her makeup artist, Eddie Henriquez, out. I guess she had worked with him on The Tempest. And I'm just rolling my eyes going, oh God. All right. then I decided one of the Teamsters was cute. So I started hanging out with him and buying Coke from who? Bobby Volpe. Bobby Volpe, the props guy, was dealing Coke out of the props, right? So before Eddie Henriquez shows up, Molly comes into my trailer and says, I don't like my makeup. So she opens my prop purse, which is stuffed with stuff, makeup, whatever, like what else is in there? The vial. So what the fuck do you think she does? She turns around and tells Adele, her mommy, who then turned around and told everybody. I was also a super bitch. They asked, please, 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 we don't have enough honey wagons. Would you mind sharing your space with this other actress? And I was like, I'm not doing that. No. Jamie Gertz.
Oh man.
Such an asshole. I was such an asshole. But I'm fun.
Yeah.
Right? No. My face turning red? It takes a lot for my face to turn red, but it's like I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
Like I don't. I'm a like I tell the truth to a fault. And I'll be in people's faces and say what I think. Like I don't care. Clearly. Look at some of my Facebook posts.
Now, the reason I asked that when you mentioned that, like, that was an awesome story. But no,
There's a little TMI for all you fans. Woo!
I asked that because you're a really great actress, and not because we're talking that I'm saying this to you, but like even what was fun going back and watching some of the stuff that you were in was I miss shows like that, like say 21 Jump Street, like your episode of 21 Jump Street. You know why I think I miss those? Because I think nowadays, because there's so much content, maybe in 15 years, I wouldn't watch one episode and see a bunch of people I know. But like Scotty Schwartz was in that episode.
I love Scott.
Who else was in that episode?
I just saw him at Chiller.
The guy
Byron
who was like the pimp, the guy who was your mom's pimp and your pimp in that episode.
Yeah, David Kagan.
Yeah, he was Kagan. He was the sheriff McGarrett. He was Sheriff Garris in Friday the 13th. Jason Lives. So like everybody that you saw in the show, you're like, oh, I know them from somebody else.
Yeah.
Even the Married with Children.
Cross reference into something else. Yeah. Well, Blake. Yeah, that's right. Oh, here's a good story. Married with Children. You know the big guy, the big blonde, like scary looking that I was with?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting my legs over him and I'm tossing cookies into toss cookies and Noah Blake's trying to catch him. So Noah Blake's with Christina Applegate. I'm with I can't remember the character's name. So that's 19.
I know the guy. The guy was in Teen Witch. He was the guy that raps in Teen Witch. The other guy you walked in with, he's the one that does the Top That
Gunther?
Rap song.
Mr. Gunther. Okay, well, it's Mr. Gunther. Yeah. So my oldest is now at St. Monica's High School. I think he was in 10th grade, 10th or 11th grade, St. Monica's High School. They come home from school and say, Mom, yeah. You know my acting teacher? Yeah. You know why he looks familiar, right? I said, no. But I couldn't play because he was gray-haired, tall, like quiet, whatever. He says, it's Mr. Gunther Jensen. I was like, No. From Married with Children? He said, yep. And you know what I did? I said, oh God, what did you do? He said, well, I went to school and I had acting and I walked in and I was like, hey, Dad. I was like, you did not. And he said, and he looked at me and was like, what? He said, yeah. Hey, Dad. Who has the balls to fuck with your teacher like this? But like, I guess it was a chill class, the most chill class in Catholic school. Anyway, and so he said, yeah, my mom, you know. He's like, no, I don't know. He said, oh, yeah, you do. Married with Children? Debbie? Liane Curtis is your mother?
Oh my God.
He had that guy going for a good minute.
That's amazing.
I thought, yeah.
But Noah Blake was the one I was thinking of. He's the one that was in Teen Witch. He did the Top That rap song, which is pretty.
Yes.
amazing.
But see, I don't think I saw Teen Witch. Like I was less watching things like that in my adulthood. Yeah. You were younger than I am, so you were probably watching things like that.
I only watch it like in the recent years. A podcast that I listened to covered it, and I was like, man, I have to watch it. But no, like the 21 Jump Street, like that, the way those episodes were, they're just, I don't know, they're just so well done because there's so many stories going on at the same time, and you had so many young actors in it.
Well, it's also well written. When things are well written, it's easy to do. When things are badly written, it's very. You can give a good acting job, but then if storylines and the psychology of a character doesn't make sense, like, kind of ruins shit.
Yeah, I just interviewed the editor for this guy, Patrick Lussier. He was the editor. I don't know if it was for the first season, but he did a lot of the editing. He was a Canadian guy, so you had to go up and did you have to go up to Vancouver at all, or?
I did, and I stayed in a hotel, and I got in trouble there too because I was feeding. Of course, I was. Of course, I did because I was feeding seagulls out my window, and they didn't like that. The seagulls would come and like grab the fucking pizza crust. And then I get a call from downstairs, the concierge. It's like, somebody's complaining about you feeding. I'm like, I'm not doing anything like that. It must be the people downstairs. So I stopped immediately. But I still put birdseed out on my air conditioner for the pigeons. I still do the same shit. Like, I haven't gotten in trouble with management yet. Although if they watch this, I might.
Well, I'll cut that part out so they don't hear that. If they happen to stumble upon this.
No, I think you should make that part happen 5 times in a row.
Yeah, repeat. Like a DJ scratch.
Exactly. I do that in my songs a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. What kind of music do you
I would, in the general category of pop, I would say, like, somebody described it as abstracts from my mind.
Cool.
I mean, I suppose anything that is created by or through a human being, because I really feel like it's channeling. It's like it's out there, and when you're open enough, like, it comes through you. Like, so, I mean, I'm kind of like that with my lyrics. I don't know that I'm the one that's actually writing them. My fingers are doing it, but it's like a conscious thing. I'm very stream of consciousness, very like no filter, because you haven't noticed that yet.
Where do you have your music? Is it on like Spotify or YouTube or something?
My very first release just came out on iTunes and all platforms. It's called The Aliens Are Here. And I'm in the process of shooting and editing as I go a music video. I put a lyric video up on my Lady Liane YouTube page.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
so there's a lyric video. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And then SoundCloud under Vulcan-A-Music.
All right. Sweet. I'll put that in the episode notes for people to check out too. And I'll be sure to check it out. That's awesome. So, and the one movie that there's a couple more movies that I want to ask you about, but definitely Critters 2, the main course.
Scott Grimes.
Yeah. Yes. So I
love Scott. He's my little critter.
Yeah.
His birthday's the day before mine.
Really?
Or 2 days before. No, the day before mine. Yeah.
So how does that job come about? Because obviously, I don't know if there was ever a time that you were like, because I've talked to some actors or people are like, oh, I only want to do this certain genre or like drama. You're just like,
So rude, so
yeah,
arrogant. I don't do commercials. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You're not a real whore then.
yeah.
Sorry. You're a fake whore, fake Hollywood. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, no. At this point, we have A-list celebrities doing TV guest stars and taking it away from middle class actors. So
Oh yeah,
like I don't do commercials. I don't think you hear anybody say that anymore.
yeah. No, I know. But no, what such
Yeah,
a
that was
cool
an A.
movie. Critters 2 is a really again, these movies I think
I had a lot of fun
yeah.
on that. Yeah. I still talk to the Kyotos. I talked to Mick. I talked to almost everybody on that. Talked to Lynn.
Nice.
I could probably even talk to Bob Shea if I wanted to.
Good old Bob.
Anyway.
No, I think it's so cool about what I love about that movie, and I think that's why like some horror movies don't have like that staying power for like watchability. I think it's like the town is like its own character. And I love that. I love when you watch even like a movie like Troll 2, like when you watch the movie, there's like these little things like where Eddie Deason is working, the heifer with the music in the commercial.
That hungry heifer, you'll never get a bum steer.
Yeah, like
Yep.
those little
Sad that I
quirky
remember
things
that.
in the town, and the fact that it's set on like Easter and the whole setting in the movie. But there's
The whole thing. It's just so crazy.
and your dad is a
But I
great
see you have a.
actor,
Is that a gizmo?
huh?
That's a gizmo up over
I
here.
do, yeah.
Isn't that, is
I
there a
painted
gizmo?
that like 10 years ago, and my son was Gizmo for Halloween.
Artwork back there.
What's that?
All my artwork is
Oh,
back.
sweet,
That's all my artwork back
awesome.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, during like
So I draw too.
Hurricane Sandy, when we had no power for like 3-4 days, me and my wife just
Yeah.
locked ourselves in,
Fun
got
time.
really stoned, and just painted for 4 days straight.
Dude, I'm sure you had fun
Oh, I
doing
loved it.
too.
I
Like
still have all of them.
sometimes, look, I turned the pandemic into my friend. Like I was happy to isolate. I got so much self-realization and trauma work and all kinds of stuff taken care of. Like, and my mom was here and I got to work out. I wouldn't change anything. Like, I hate that the pandemic happened, but like I turned that shit into lemonade, but good. So
You know what's funny? That's so true. My buddy just not to do a sour note. One of my best friends since I was like 6 passed away about a month ago, and we always connected, always stay connected from when we were buddies when we were 6. And COVID happened, and when we were kids, we used to write stories and write movies and stuff, scripts. So during COVID, that was our thing. We get together like every other night and just hang out for like 4 hours over Zoom. And it was like something I cherish. And when I spoke at his funeral, it's like you always have to put that thing at the end of it. Like the pandemic was like a really terrible thing. A lot of people lost their lives, but it's like a silver lining. I had to see my daughter grow up for a full year to have her right there with me. And then I got to do that with my
without you
buddy.
being distracted and out in the world and
Yeah.
whatever it is you right. Like I think the pandemic like had that effect on some, and it's there's no in the middle.
Yeah.
It either fucked you up or you were able to somehow transmute what was going on into something that was beneficial, like intrapersonally, or getting something done that you would not have had the time to do. Like it allowed people to realize, wait, I'm going to work for 8 hours, but like the drive time to and from, fuck that. I'm going to work at home.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying me for my drive time. I'm out of here. Like, or whatever it is. So a lot of people got to restructure a more coherent lifestyle for themselves. So that's what I choose to focus on.
Yeah.
Because, why focus on the crap? Like it just propagates more crap.
Yeah, I work from home, and I've worked from home since then, and it's the
Thanks.
greatest thing ever,
Yep.
One guy that's in that, the guy that plays your dad, Sam Anderson, he's like one of those guys.
I love him.
What a great character actor. Whether it's in on Lost, he's on like the first season. I think he's in throughout Lost, but he's like very focused his character in the first season, and he's just one of those guys that shows up. And I think that's what's so good about all the people in the cast. Whenever you see him in other things, you're like, oh man, these people are really good.
Yeah. Sam. I remember having dragging. Oh man, like my arm was so sore the next day. Yeah.
No, that's cool. That
Yeah.
it's just like one of those horror movies. Is it silly? Like these little creatures, like all those things, like gremlins,
Of course.
critters.
But you know what? Here's the one thing. My mom was hardcore. Like, there was a reviewer named Stuart Klein here in New York. He hated everything. Even when he liked something, he made it sound nasty. Mom was almost, if not worse, as bad, if not worse. But the thing that she loved about Critters is that everybody played it straight, especially Barry Corbin. And that right there is what made it so good. So she very much appreciated that about Critters too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Mick, that was like, well, that was probably one of Mick's first directing gigs.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Excuse
And
me.
it's okay. Rip another bond here.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Amazing.
Oh God. No, but I've said this before on other interviews, but like I don't think Mick got signed by an agent, like, or maybe I don't know. It kind of. I know he heard about it afterwards, but like I learned early, like on a movie called The Kid Brother, like the grips told me about how when nobody's paying attention, you take a grip clip or a like a clothespin and you just clip it to somebody's shirt, like as a joke.
Oh no.
Well, here are these two suits. Oh yeah. I got so many of those and I clipped a bunch of them all over these guys' jackets. They didn't realize till they got in their cars and they sat down and they were like, what the fuck? Clipped all these guys. I didn't know that they were agents. They're looking at Mick to see if they wanted to sign him. Like, I'm a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, no filter. I just do whatever. Like, this is, I wonder why I don't get hired.
But that, you know what, something worked
care.
because that was his first. Like he directed TV shows, but that was his first movie.
Oh my God.
And then from there,
Slamming.
and then he did a ton after that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, people love me.
Yeah, no, he's great.
He's a very kind, thoughtful human being. He really is. And the funny thing is as much as he does horror and all this stuff, the guy is like super. He played like in a what do you call that? Like in a Catholic, not Catholic band, but like when you do music, like Jars of Clay, that band Jars of Clay that does music, but it has like religion sort of.
Really?
Oh my God, the genres. Yeah, wow. Why can I not think? Like, I haven't smoked any weed in 3 days. I can't think.
Jars of Clay. That's Google rock band. Oh, it's like a Christian rock
it's a
band.
Genre. Yes. Mick was in a Christian rock band for a while. Yeah, he's a musician. His wife, Cindy, played self-taught how to play the piano. She started writing stuff. That's kind of recent. Like Cindy and the music.
That's really cool.
She got good at it. But they're really nice people. Really good, wholesome people. Like Mick probably doesn't curse. He's a vegan. Like, and then he makes these horrendous visuals that are just demonic. Right? So I don't know. That's kind of interesting to me.
No, yeah, no. It seems like a lot of It seems like a lot of times. Sometimes people are opposite of their art. So that
juxtaposed to the art, yes. But juxtapositions are always very fascinating to me. Like people and behavior have always been kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah.
We're a very strange species.
No, we definitely are. No, that's true.
Yeah.
You know, another cool movie he did, and I think this might be one. I always, whenever I talk to people, I never like tell them, hey, this is the one that I bet you look back on. But I bet just it seemed like really fun. Girlfriend from Hell.
Sorry. Little outburst there. Yeah. I think that was pretty typecasting right there. It's like I didn't have to do much acting. Really not. It was so easy. That one was so easy. To light my farts on fire in the dressing room. I had an option. I either had to share dressing rooms with actors, and we already know how Liane feels about sharing dressing rooms with actors. So conceded to sharing the dressing room with the first AD. So Jiffy Jeff, I used to call him. He'd come in and I'd be like, "Hey, Jeff." He'd be like, "What?" I'd like throw my legs up
And like
farts on. So ladylike. She's a lady.
Yeah.
C'est moi. Hi. And I speak fluent French too.
Oh my god. It just seems like a cool movie, and I feel like did it just get another release or something in the last few years, like through Vinegar Syndrome or something?
Yes, it most surely, seriously, absolutely, positively did.
That's awesome.
And the artwork is fabulous. It was re colorized or whatever they do to it. They did something to it. And then I finally said yes to doing an extra video interview for like the extras.
Cool.
That took some.
Yeah.
That took some convincing. I was actually not very nice to that man for a minute. I had to. Right. I'm like, what do you mean you're releasing this? We haven't even seen a residual one. Like, how could it be getting released? What are you talking about? Like, and why would I do a video and help Alberto make more money? That was the producer.
Yeah.
Alberto Lenzi, I am the producer. It's like, no, you're a restaurant owner who wants to be a producer. Wannabe.
That's like the ugly side of the business, obviously, with everything that's going on.
Like, I'm never going to get hired again after this airs.
But I'm sure there's so many people who feel that sentiment. I've interviewed people. D.B. Sweeney was in this movie I've never heard of that came out. It didn't even come out in the 80s. It was him and I forgot who was. They filmed it in Ireland. His two brothers are like big actors. But anyway, like it just got to the point that it's like, oh, we're going to shelve it. And he's still to this day. I talked to him like 3 years ago. He's like, I want to buy it. He goes, I still would love to see that. But that's terrible. Like all these movies now that like Warner Brothers is shelving, like Batgirl. They just did it with the Acme versus Wile E. Coyote or whatever.
Busy, like, they're probably making digital replicas of everybody, and we're shelving it, which means they're probably digital replica. Like who knows what they're doing?
Yeah. They've
probably already made digital replicas of all of us, and they're backpedaling. That's all that's happening. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said that. But I'm just not. Again, I've got my way of seeing things.
Yeah,
okay.
No, that's totally fine.
I'm allowed.
I know
it's America.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
So again, there's so many credits. Not like we're going to go through everyone, but one that caught my eye was the Rock and Roll High School Forever, just because of like Corey Feldman and had a pretty neat cast, and it was a sequel to that movie that came out in like '78, I think, right?
Yeah, it's a weird. Like I don't know if there have ever been any sequels that come out like 2 decades later like that.
Very rare. Like Psycho, maybe Psycho 2 was pretty far, but no, that this is definitely out there.
Yeah. Yeah. PJ Souls was in the first one.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Like, yeah. But that was fun.
How was Corey at that point?
He was having some issues.
No, I'm sure. No, he definitely was at that point.
He was having But, like, to be fair, the trauma that kid endured.
Sure. Being a kid in Hollywood's hard.
It was hard enough to be in the business here.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to PCS, and none of that. Like a lot of kids go to professional children's school. Like it wasn't like that. My mom really didn't want to be a stage mother. She was not interested. She had her own career. Like she was I love my mom. Mm-hmm. She was a oneer, man. She was brilliant. James Dean actually called her an erudite bitch and stalked off. They were in the same Stella Adler class.
Wow.
Yeah. Maureen Stapleton, James Dean, Marlon Brando. She was in that class.
Oh my God.
She said Marlon was weird. I was like, what was Marlon Brando like? He was very strange. I said, what does that mean? Well, one day I walked into class, she said, and he was just standing there with a candle, letting the hot wax drip on his hand. Okay.
But isn't that what those classes are? Aren't they like a little out there? Because I talked to somebody and they said in the class, everybody sat there for like an hour like pretending to sleep. Isn't it like super?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It is. Well, and Stella apparently did not like women very much. So my mom didn't do so hot in that class. She was my mom, Maureen Stapleton said, "You're like an orchid, Paulette. You're like an orchid. You remind me of an orchid. She's so delicate, so fragile." She was, myopic, like introverted, mildly pigeon-toed when she was a kid, but she was brilliant. She graduated high school at 15 and a half and then went on to get like scholarships to acting schools. And then Herbert Berghoff took her into his class, and then they went and did summer stock in 1941 up at in Ithaca
Okay,
at a
cool.
barn. The actors, like, you can look it up. Like the actors went up there and they turned this barn into a theater, and they all lived there, and they all took turns doing props or whatever. And that's where my mom met her friend Gail. And I think I said something about my brother from another mother going to the audition with me.
Yeah.
That was Stever. Stever
Ah.
was his name, because his dad's name was Steve, so he was Stever. Whatever. Stever. Oh, hi, hon. Oh. Yeah, very low voice. Always call me hun. Hi, hun. And he would come up here and we'd hang out. The schedule was usually like smoke weed, drink coffee, throw I Ching coins, play with tarot cards, go to CBGBs, steal mom's car. One time I stole mom's car and I was driving home. It was nighttime and we were going down 14th Street toward the river. Like, you're familiar, right?
Yeah.
14th. So it's like 2 lanes, right? And parked cars. So Stever, we're driving down 14th Street and a bus starts pulling out to go into the right lane. I'm in the left lane, and there's another bus coming. He's like, hon, the bus, hon, the bus. And I just looked at him and he's like, oh God. I said, what? He's like, it's that, oh no, here we go. Look, you have in your eyes. I don't like this. And then that would just make me laugh. And so hence that laugh in Girlfriend from Hell, when I'm driving and laughing, dude, and James Doughton sitting next to me going, Maggie, it set me right back. That laugh was so authentic. Like, I was right back in the car with Stever, freaking him out with my crazy driving, like that I knew I was fine. Awesome. I was completely controlled. But like, oh my God.
That's really neat that you went to that moment and you were able to to tap into that memory.
Yeah, man. Like, it just happened. It wasn't even like I did it on purpose.
Yeah. Is Stever still in New York?
No, Stever passed away. He had problems with alcohol, and he actually, he passed away in his sleep. I guess some kind of a blood vessel burst in his stomach, and they found him the next morning.
I'm sorry.
And that wasn't the first episode. Yeah, it sucked. He was in Mallorca at the time, and my mom even said, like, you want to come back here? He said, I need to come back and get straight. Like, and he wanted to come back here and go to rehab, but like, he never. So sad.
Oh man,
I miss him so much. Yeah, like, I miss my absent friends, but like, I also have this weird evidential mediumship thing that happens randomly. So sometimes I hear them, like, and I know, like, their energy doesn't get destroyed just because it's not in a body. Doesn't mean it's not available.
No,
you don't create it. You don't. It just is.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Like, I always talk to my people that passed away, or my dad and stuff, like, randomly in these moments. It's not like I really think that they're answering me back, but I feel something back when I speak into the air. But
yeah, well, the last time this happened, my daughter Jacques was on American Idol, and she made it like pretty far for a 15-year-old. She made it to top 48. But one of the people we befriended went back on The Voice recently, like the last season.
Oh wow!
And like, I watched as, like, it was weird. I was like so tapped in. I knew Blake was going to steal him back. Like, I knew, like, I was having precognitive shit, and it was bad. And then one day, I just had the very, very, very huge impulse to text Savion. He goes by Noivas now, but Savion spelled backwards. So I texted Savion. I said, Savion, this is a little weird, and I'm kind of scared to say this, but I think you're gonna go. Like, he said, what's going on? I said, I don't know, but I think your brother's here. He said, Alfred? I said, yeah. Alfred wants me to tell you all the way. What does that mean? And then I said a couple other things that he was like, yeah, no, 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 I believe you that he's right there. Like, and I said, he said, keep saying all the way, all the way. What does that mean? He said, well, that's what we used to say when we were cheering his favorite like sports team. He'd go all the way, all the way. I said, because he's doing this, going all the way, all the way, all the way. He said, that's what he used to do. Okay. And here, I don't know if you could see the goosebumps
Yeah.
up on my skin right now. Like when that starts happening too. So I feel like Alfred's back around.
Oh my
Like,
God.
I don't know. So he was like, you need to text Savion. So I'm texting Savion. I said, I think you're going to go all the way. I don't know what that means, but you're going all the way. Like, I don't know if I said, maybe you're going to win. Like, I hate texting things like that to people who are in the middle of a competition because it's just so mindfuck. If you don't, like, and if I'm wrong, how embarrassing is that? Well, sure, man, he did go all the way. He didn't win, but he went to the top 5 and he's still working with Blake Shelton.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. 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 So like I have that little weirdness to me too. Like, but that's probably not surprising. I draw lines.
So one thing I always like to ask people, and this has been so much fun, is like across your career, because obviously you are like in the moment, like you like enjoying things in the moment. But did you ever keep any mementos or anything like from any of the steps, like scripts, wardrobe, anything that your character had?
Escalate?
Huh?
Like escalating like a serial killer, like keeping shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. I have, and I almost didn't, but then I busted this woman. She's like, I was saving it I was holding it safe for you. I'm like, sure you were. Give me my leather jacket from from Rock and Roll High School Forever.
Oh, nice.
I've got that leather jacket. I've got a pair of boots that Downey bought me when we were shopping on Melrose for Sarah Jessica Parker. He was still with her at the time.
Oh, wow.
Sadly, I lost the little earring that he bought me. He bought me a skull with a top hat and a little boner that looked like a bone, but then when you looked at it really closely, you knew exactly what it was. I don't have those pieces anymore, sadly. But I still have boots. Let's see, what else did I keep? I've got a pair of socks from Critters 2, woolen socks. I don't think I have anything from Baby It's You. 16 Candles. I still have the script.
Oh, nice.
With all of my notes in it, my acting, my whatever that I did.
That's really cool.
Still. What else? I think I probably have some old scripts. Like, but it's like you don't think, like you throw shit out. So many scripts I had from ICM would get me the scripts, like, and I would have scripts, and sometimes it would be like, Mom, could you please read a couple because I can't read all of these. I got 3 auditions tomorrow. It got a little crazy for like a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, like offhand, I don't know if I can think of anything else, but definitely that leather jacket that I adore to this day.
That's cool.
I should actually tell my daughter that she needs to bring it. She's going to come visit me like between Christmas and Thanksgiving. It's like, could you please go to storage and grab a leather jacket?
Because I bet at that point, just because you were in 16 Candles and you are, like I said, I wasn't just saying this like pull your chain. Like you're a great actress. Like in those things that I saw, it was like so believable. Especially in that 21 Jump Street. I think they let people like really act. Like it seems like everyone was so like good. Like from all the characters in that. I'm sure there was like every movie you got sent a script just because you were A, in a John Hughes movie, and B, you knew what you were doing.
It got to that point, yeah, but like sadly my reputation preceded me, I think. I don't know. Oh God, she's trouble. See, I wasn't big enough to be trouble. Like I should have been in Breakfast Club. Ali Sheedy got that because I was an asshole on the set of 16 Candles. Wow. He also gave me this fucking she's having a baby script. That didn't work. Yeah, like John took my mom and he said, I've never seen an actor more prepared than your daughter is. Like, but then my mom left and I went nuts. So whatever.
Like you said, whatever happened, and it's who you are today. And I believe that too, you know?
It doesn't make me more or less of a dumbass in that moment.
Yeah.
The dumbassery was, Bill and Ted. Hi, I'm Bill and Ted. I'll have an adventure. It'll be fabulous.
So when I know you mentioned what you said earlier about like the strike and your feelings on that, but are you gonna have you thought about like acting again? I know it's hard, especially nowadays, to be
I've
in
thought
New
about
York.
trying to find. I've thought about trying to find a breakaway civilization and moving to Mars. Start my own union
Yeah.
up there. I'll make Martian art, Martian movies. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to act, although the vitriol that I've been posting for the last 2 days might kind of not be my friend there. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it would be fun, but like it's been this long. I haven't worked in this long, so what have I got to
Yeah.
lose? Like, it's not like I'm gonna stop going on auditions now because I have a big mouth. Like, I haven't had an audition in a fucking decade, so whatever. Like, I'm here. They know where I am.
Yeah.
I look pretty hot for a 58-year-old. Like,
You look pretty much.
117
You know.
pounds. I'm so hot. Like, hi, you know.
You know who you look like, and it's always. I don't.
Kick Dave. Sorry, do my Crispin Glover for you, and I can kick. Cut to commercial.
Did you ever watch Schitt's Creek?
I love Schitt's Creek. Schitt's Creek. If there are any, look, okay, so if I ever did act again, I would want to be on a show like Schitt's Creek, Blunt Talk, Space Force, any show that's got a bunch of characters that start off like seeming a little normal, but they're all fucking nuts. Yeah. That's what I want to do. I love that ensemble cast, Shrinking. I love that show. Oh boy! See, look at you, got me all sparked.
Yeah,
up.
no.
Yes.
What I was going to say is,
plenty-
and it's always, I don't know why. Like whenever if somebody said to me, like,
lucky to have me.
You kind of, if you look at you, like obviously you kind of look the same that you did in the '80s, but you in the '80s, sadly, Annie Murphy could be your daughter or like your cousin, the main daughter, Alexis. Like you kind of look like her. In like 21 Jump Street, like really all those movies, all those shows and stuff you're in, but you can definitely see like this weird resemblance, and that's what I thought of when I was watching that.
Are you talking about the daughter in Schitt's Creek?
I know she has blonde hair, but your face is in the. If you look at your '80s photo and maybe looked at because that's you, and it's not like
maybe it's the bone structure too. Like I don't know, like bone structure, face shape goes a long way.
Yeah. Like when I was a kid, people said I looked like Elijah Wood, and I was like, "All right, that's fine." I don't see it really, but yeah,
I met him at CBGB once.
Oh yeah,
he was there at the closing of CBGB's.
Do you play in New York? In New York anywhere? Your music or anything at like bars or anything?
No, I'm terrified of playing live. Like I don't know what that is. Like I actually supported my daughter because she was like 13 years old and she needed backup, and I didn't have money to hire a band. But like I know how to play guitar, so okay, I'll just do that. And our friend Rich, so we were like this little trio of whatever. And then sometimes we had friends come and help. Like, and then I ended up playing bass and whatever. But so. Like, even then, like, I would look at Rich, he'd be like, Leanne, what's the matter with you? Just go have fun. I'm like, I'm terrified. He's like, what terrified of? What if I clam? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So by the time, like, it was my 53rd birthday, I think I finally got the juice up to go sing backups. I got in the mic and I was able to sing. And those are up on my Vulcany music channel. There's 2 songs up there. All Is Forgiven and Worth Loving, 2 of my daughters' really beautiful songs. Awesome. She's such a good songwriter. But yeah, like I don't play live. I could maybe be convinced to do it. Like now that I'm writing my own music and it's not me pushing my daughter and helping her, like it's hard to push yourself like that. But yeah, I mean, I could see it. I could see it. Like maybe going to an open mic, like as long as Stever's not here, but I'm sure I could find some other sucker to come with me.
Yeah, right. Leanne, this has been awesome. I'm so happy we connected and some great stories, and maybe I'll run into you in the city. I only have to go to the city 4 times a year for work, but then we take the kids in and stuff.
Hasta la vista, baby.
See ya. Au revoir, right? Au revoir?
Oh, yeah, yes. Au revoir. Au revoir. Demi-tasse. Au revoir.
Leanne was so great because she paints herself like other people look at themselves with this angelic thing. She's like, man, I was a troublemaker. Like she told the stories exactly how they happened, didn't change anything because why would she? They already made her look in a certain way. And man, she was so much fun. Like she could have been in the Breakfast Club. Like she was the Ali Sheedy role. And just the way she played like Randy in 16 Candles. But wow, she was, man, so much fun. There's so many turns in that interview. If you watch the video, it'll be at sequelsonly.com/Liane Curtis, or on our YouTube, you'll see it on there. It's unedited for the most part. I cut out some of the beginning, some of the end of all of them, just the niceties of hi, how are you, things like that. But there were times like her parrot joined. She had a parrot. She was telling some stories about Robert Downey Jr., like very animated. She looks super young. Like, I can't believe, she's in her 50s, which is like mind blowing. She looks exactly like she did in, watching that 21 Jump Street and the Married with Children she was on. So cool. Lots of fun. Liane, you rule. Thanks so much for taking the time. And your homework, and it's perfect. It's an Easter movie. Some people think about, Jesus. Some people think about the Easter Bunny, but you think about Critters 2, the main course. From now on, that's all you think of. It's sort of a family movie, I guess. I don't know what age you could start it at, but they're just so cute. You tell the kids, like, come on, they're holding the critters on them, and that's how this works. That's how we get into this. It's a shared thing that we know, the critters know. They're not real, but it's fun. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast, follow us on all social media at Sequels Only, and don't forget to check our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.